If you made it this far, comment. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Hello. It's your boy A Brady, aka A Ron. We're back here in Texas. I got a video for you today about this truck. I say it every single video. I love this truck. It's been doing great. I have no issues with it. It's been working like it should, but that doesn't mean there's not things wrong with it. So today I'm gonna go over the top 10 things, maybe more. If I find more, I'll keep going. But the top 10 things that are wrong with my OBS. Let's start off with number 1, which I just noticed right now. So a couple videos ago, I did this headlight swap, and I also did my mirrors. And we just got a quick rain, truck's wet. Got a little bit of rain out here probably earlier today as well. And I noticed these headlights here got a little bit of fog in them and what appears to be a little bit of water in there. So somebody commented in the last video to put some sealant around these headlights. I thought that was a joke, but obviously he had the same experience with these same headlights. So that's number 1, water in the headlights. Now, for those of you that have seen some of my other videos, you might know that this truck has a turbo LS under the hood. When I did all the fabrication for this thing, it was kind of in a bit of a rush. I was trying to get it ready for sick week. I did the best that I could with all of the piping routing, the intercooler piping you can see right here, which brings me to number 2. The trim piece that goes along the bottom of the grill has been left out. When I built this intercooler piping, I routed everything back behind that bottom headlights there, and I ended up leaving this trim piece off because it would interfere with the piping right here. What I might do to fix that is just trim the piece so that it goes from there to there, and then do an outer side piece from here to here. Or maybe in the future I'll end up flipping my intercooler so that the piping comes out at the top. That could be a future turbo kit, I'm not sure yet, but that's number 2. Since we're at the front of the truck, let me pop the hood real quick and get a couple of items under there that I can name off real quick. Here's another one. Dent in the side of the cab and some scratches. Those are from me. That dent was there. I knew about that. But let's pop the hood. All right, here's that turbo LS I was talking about. No complaints about the motor. Motor's been absolutely great, but I was fighting some electrical gremlins with this thing at the start. And as you can see, got a bit of a rat's nest back there. I think that brings us to number 4 if I'm counting the dent over there. And number 5 being all of my Holley wiring. I left it long because eventually I want to move this battery to the back of the truck. And I did this wiring trackside in Gainesville because I was having so many issues. I ended up just swapping out the complete harness. So that'll be number 4 and 5. And number 6 is that I don't have an air filter on it right now, again because this battery is in the way. I tried to get a little pod filter. It was still, maybe it's just the one that I ordered wasn't good, but it wouldn't fit in there. Eventually I'd like to maybe do an elbow and have an air cleaner over into that corner. All right, so that was 4, 5, and 6 real quick. And that's gonna bring us into the next little bit here, just looking at the engine real quick. All of this wiring bugs me. This is an old little coil harness off of a spare motor that I had. I would like to clean that up because that looks disgusting. And eventually I'd like to move those coils either inside the truck or up onto the firewall. I'd love to have no wiring in here at all that you can see and just shaved wheel wells, but that's not the case right now. The goal for this truck was to get it running, prove the concept, and have fun with it. Phase 2 of the truck will be to clean this up. So 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever number we're at. I'm probably going to lose track here, but that's where we're at now. One more thing is the breather. Not knowing what I didn't know, I put the AN fittings near the back of the valve covers. Oil sloshes to the back under hard acceleration. It might plug those up. They're not right at the back. There's still a little bit of room there, but in hindsight, those should be mounted up at the front. So again, phase 2 of this truck, coils gone, different valve covers, have the AN fittings up at the front. And now that I'm looking at it, that brings us to the next thing, number 8, I believe, this alternator wiring. Again, to do with the electrical gremlins I was chasing, ended up going from having that wire going over to that bus over there, going straight back to the battery, and that's that. It's just a little bit ugly. I should reroute it. That's part of phase 2 of this truck. Number 9 is my quick, cheap, and simple fix to retain the power brakes with the booster. I have a vacuum pump from a ZL1 Camaro or Corvette, whatever the supercharged Corvettes are, that gives me vacuum and runs my brake booster. It also did run my transmission at one point, but now it's got a full manual valve body, so don't need it for that anymore. It just runs the brakes, and the brakes work really good, actually. All right, and just like that, in a span of like a minute and a half, whatever it is, we're already at 9, so let's keep going. I'm gonna find probably 20 things to talk about here. Okay, continuing on the outside, we'll get away from the engine for a second. We might come back to that. Actually, let's go back because I just thought of it. This windshield wiper, I don't think the pump on that works, so I don't really have any spray going onto the windshield. The wipers work, but the fluid reservoir in the motor, I think I might have just called this a windshield wiper, but the reservoir pump does not spray fluid onto the windshield. So that's number 10. Number 4, I think it was, we'll go back to, is all these dents and scratches. There's lots of chips. This is not good paint on this truck. It's a 20-footer at best. And I'm gonna stop trying to keep track of the numbers because I don't know where we're at anymore, but I'll continue on the outside. Fuel door, no fuel. We got nothing there. Wheels. We have 2 different bolt patterns because this truck, if you don't know already, has a Mustang rear end from a 2016 Mustang GT. So what comes with that is custom coilover mounts, and I'll get into that in another video, I'm sure, but also the 5x4.5 bolt pattern back here and the original OBS 5x5 bolt pattern up in the front. So I have 2 different wheel sets going on right now to have matching wheels, or 2 different bolt patterns I should say. But when I run my drag setup, I have a full Mustang setup and I have to run wheel adapters in the front, which is good because the offset on these gives you a little bit of a lip, and the Mustang wheels don't really have that lip. So running that adapter gives me a chance to space it out a little bit more, and it actually feels like it might handle a little bit better that way. So maybe due to the wider track width on the back, I don't know. I didn't do any calculations with this suspension to figure out steering. I just wanted to drive it. So that's number 3,000 different bolt patterns on the truck. Now, I just talked about this filler neck going to Narnia. That brings me to the fuel tank in the bed. So whenever I go to fill this truck up, I have to take the tonneau cover all the way back, and then I got to fill it up using that old filler neck. Eventually I should replace this with a fuel cell, but again, there was a bit of a time crunch getting this truck together, and this was the quickest, simplest, and cheapest solution to get it going. Another thing, being that this truck is from Canada and was built in the winter time, is the rust. I would love to get this thing sandblasted and coated properly. Okay, coming back around the side of the truck, some more dents, dings, chips, and scratches. And one more thing I just thought of is this wastegate I've got here. So the wastegate comes off of that main header manifold, and it exits right here in the wheel well, right there. So it shoots right above my tire and up into this fender well here. It needs to be rerouted to come out maybe through the fender well and down and out through here, or just kick out to the ground. That was just something that, again, due to time constraints, kind of didn't get prioritized and was a good enough thing at the time. I'm starting to pick up on the theme of everything that's wrong with this truck was due to timing, and was more of a, that sounds like a future Aaron problem. So a lot of these will be addressed when I have the time, maybe this winter, to go back, give this truck another once over and do things the right way. All right, now the next thing is probably my favorite thing that's wrong with the truck, and that's that it has too much power for the street. Let me show you the proof. Okay, these are my drag radials for the truck. They're 305 45 17s, and these lasted about 2 weeks. Now, they were doing street hits. This wasn't track, but you can see it ate through these tires pretty good. We're down to the cords. It wore out the inside a little bit more than it did on the outside, and that's because of that Mustang rear end. We've got a little bit of camber in the rear that I need to address to get it to eat this tire up a little bit more evenly. But that's a good problem to have. I'm not going to complain about that. Now, if I cared about it, the next thing would be fuel mileage on this truck. That's controlled by my own foot, and that's my own fault, so we're not even going to talk about it anymore. We're going for miles per gallon with this thing. All right, let's jump into the interior now. So as you can see in Texas, it's pretty hot. I'm sweating almost every time I film one of these outside. And this truck does not have AC, unfortunately. That would be something I like to add in the future. All right, so no AC. The nice thing is I can put the windows down. The only problem is it doesn't have power windows. They're crank windows. It's not a problem over here. I don't mind having to roll the window down. No big deal, it happens pretty quickly. But if I want maximum flow and I need to roll that one down, I gotta reach all the way over there. I do have this back window, which is nice, but no power windows. Also, no power locks. Manual locks. Kind of on the fence about that one. I don't mind the manual locks, but again, if I want to unlock this door, I gotta reach over there. And I got this guy in the way now, so it's a bit of a task. But it almost feels silly to complain about small little things like that. Speaking of the heat, what is up with this tint? I got some purple tint on these windows, and then over there it looks like it maybe had another layer on it and somebody peeled it off and it's just adhesive. I don't really know what's going on over there, but that window's pretty messed up. These ones are purple. Got a tear in that piece right there, so I would like to redo the tint in this thing. And honestly, I'd probably go a little bit darker on the sides. I would like to do maybe limo tint on the back, 50% or 30% on the sides, and that should take care of a lot of the heat in here. All right, now we're getting into the nitty gritty. I'm gonna put my key in. I'm not gonna fire the truck up, but the first thing I'll say is I got a gauge that works here for fuel, I got a gauge that works here for voltage, oil pressure gauge does not work, and coolant temp gauge does not work. Neither does the speedo or the mileage tach down there. I do have a lot of that up here. Oil pressure, I've got coolant temp. I do have GPS speed, it's just not hooked up for the CarPlay unit. And when I turn the lights on for the gauge cluster, you can't see it right now. Basically the bottom half lights up kind of like that. So I've got a couple burnt out bulbs back behind here. That's an easy enough fix. Again, a lot of these things are just like little weekend projects, which isn't a big deal except for I work on weekends. So it's hard to find the time to tackle something like that where you got to take apart 90% of your dash and you generally want to try and get it back together before the end of the night. More wiring for me to clean up, not a big deal. And last, I think, but not least, this is my number 2 favorite thing wrong with the truck. Let me show you, and let me know if your OBS or older pickup truck does this as well. All right, here it is. Are you ready? You gotta pay attention because it happens quick. You might not catch it. The truck can be running and you can remove the key. My dad had a older truck like this back in the day, and it was an older OBS Ford, and I remember he could do this with it, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So comment down below, do you have an older truck that you can do this with? You can have it running, pull the key out, go inside, lock the doors, come back outside, unlock your truck, and it ain't got the key in it for somebody to take it. Did I mention this truck doesn't have AC? Looks like we're about to get some rain coming in. But that's it, guys. Let me know what you thought of all the things that are wrong with my OBS. Let me know if you think I missed anything that you seen in the video while I was walking around. And comment down below if you want to see anything else that I do with this truck or what I should improve on it next. I forgot about one thing. Let me mention it real quick. And this is some foreshadowing for you people who made it this far. My next video, might be addressing this guy. That's all I'll say right now. But again, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if you want to see a part 2 of everything that I love about this truck. That should be another easy one to do. There's so much that brings me joy about this truck and that I have fun with and am proud of with this truck. So I'm gonna do another video, I think, covering all those things. So come on back for part 2. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video and so you don't miss my next video. If you made it this far, comment Twin Turbski down below so that I know. Comment that down below. That way I know you made it this far in the video. If you did make it this far, I appreciate you so much. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace. And if you made it this far, comment sleeper. Where can I go? Here we go. Comment sleeper, because that's the license plate on this truck. Bye.